Hey crypto kids, hope everyone's doing well today. So we're going to take a look at the market real quick today, and right afterwards we're going to check out a really interesting article that came up and came past my attention, and be a little bit of storytelling. So if you guys want, you can hit it on a 1.2 or 1.5 or like a 2 times speed if you like, so you can listen to it a lot quicker. So for the market right now today, I think it hit about 142 billion yesterday. The market took a nice little uptrend for a little while. It seems like it's doing a small correction today, but don't hold your breath, guys. I feel like tomorrow, Friday or Saturday, the market could be taking a bigger hit and maybe going down slightly further, maybe into the 3,500s, or if it breaks that, possibly the 3,000. It could always go the other way, but I feel like we're not out of this just yet. I think there's a lot more to come. A little manipulation, as we all know, we've been seeing. Dominance is at 54%. So let's go take a look at the article real quick. So you can come over here, guys. So Bitcoin and digital assets are here to stay, says NYSE chairman despite bear market. It's a nice title here, and I think it hits a really good point. So Jeff Sprecher, chairman of New York Stock Exchange, says Bitcoin and other digital assets are here to stay. Sprecher is also CEO of Intercontinental Exchange, otherwise known as ICE, which is teaming up with Microsoft and Starbucks to launch Bakkt, a company that will facilitate Bitcoin futures in January. We're creating that infrastructure that doesn't exist today, which we think is a big opportunity for institutional investors to come in, Bakkt CEO Kelly Loeffler says. So the article goes along in saying that Bitcoin got the backing of a critical figurehead on Wall Street this week. Jeff Sprecher, chairman of NYSE and CEO of its parent company, ICE, said that despite headlines of cryptocurrencies flopping, digital assets have a future in regulated markets. When asked about the dropping prices, Sprecher brought up a perennial question posed by critics. Will digital assets survive? The unequivocal answer is yes. He said on stage at the Consensus Invest conference on Tuesday, as an exchange operator, it's not our objective to opine on prices. Sprecher's Intercontinental Exchange, along with Starbucks, Microsoft, and BCG, is backing a new company called Bakkt that will facilitate Bitcoin futures trading by the first quarter of next year. The initial launch was set for November 2018, but the company announced last week it would push that debut back to January. Kelly Loeffler, Chief Executive Officer of Bakkt, gave some details on decision. She explained that the original timeline was ambitious and the customer pipeline filled up quickly. To give it the best chances for success, we pushed it back to the holidays to give people more time to get on board, Loeffler said. Is that really the reason why, guys? It's a positive indication of the interest, and it gives people time to learn. We have a responsibility to do that, so we're taking that extra time. Bakkt is starting with Bitcoin, which is regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. The company's role, as Loeffler explained it, is to provide custody and price discovery for Bitcoin that frees from fraud and manipulation. Prices now tend to fluctuate depending on the exchange, which in many cases are unregulated. We're creating that infrastructure that doesn't exist today, which we think is a big opportunity for institutional investors to come in, Loeffler said. Guys, institutional investors keeps coming up. Another key big difference is how the futures contracts will settle. Bakkt's Bitcoin futures will settle in Bitcoin. Existing Bitcoin futures on the CME and CBOE, which began trading in December, settle in cash. Those futures contracts this week hit their lowest price since they began trading last year. The Nasdaq and VanEck also plan to launch Bitcoin futures in the first quarter of 2019. A lot going on. Bitcoin prices jumped as much as 16% Wednesday after hitting a new 14-month low over the weekend. The world's largest cryptocurrency was trading around 4,300 as of 3:55 p.m. ET. Bitcoin as a benchmark. While it might not have the best technology of all cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin will still likely emerge as the yardstick by which all others are measured, Sprecher said. Somehow Bitcoin has lived in a swamp and survived, Sprecher said. There are thousands of other tokens that you could argue are better, but yet Bitcoin continues to survive, thrive, and attract attention. Sprecher, who is married to Lee Olphler, likened it to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the Dow, as it's known, is an index of 30 stocks that is price weighted, meaning it gives higher price stocks more influence but doesn't take into account the industry size or market cap. The Dow has been around for decades. It's a terrible index. We could come up with an index that's more representative of our economy, but somehow that index will not go away, Sprecher said. Dow critics say it's not an accurate representation of market performance, yet its most widely used barometer. Similarly, Bitcoin has flaws, but Sprecher said it's still likely to be the go-to cryptocurrency. Oftentimes in finance, it's not about being the best. It turns out to be about being the broadest and most commonly accepted, and for whatever reason, Bitcoin has become that. So there you guys have it. Talking a lot about the futures coming up and the ICE and Bakkt, and these guys are not trying to hide it all. They're showing it and saying everything out there that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are here to stay. We don't know which ones exactly. We do see the market taking a downturn. We know it's shaking the hands and seeing which companies can actually sustain themselves. So we don't know which ones are going to last, but usually we always talked about top 100, top 10 or so are usually the ones that will stick around and have more longevity, more support, more community backing and all. So I will post this link down in the description for you guys to read for yourselves if you choose. Okay, and that's pretty much it, guys. Well, Crypto Kids, time for me to go out to David Duty. Bye.